Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back, Top 10 Tuesday. We are here in studio with our first in studio guest, maybe ever on this show. Brian Deheer is here. That's fun to say. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. I'm at currently I've been traveling across country, but I'm at my mom's house, so I can't say some of the you know the things that we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
here
you
as
know,
comfortable as I would like.
as I'm also in my mom's house, so
But
here
this
we
is
are.
like a
Yeah, it's just a
studio.
studio. It used to belong to my brother where he grew up in, but here we are. So Brian was just in LA doing some comedy. So now Michael and I are officially the least two funny people on the show, which is not great for us. But it's all right. Today we're doing top 10, what did we say? Backhanded compliments? Yeah. And so you could take this like, are they like good? Like, or they're like, you don't want to hear them. Like they're the worst backhanded compliments. Depends how you thought of it. I thought of it as like, what's the one I least want to hear as my number one, and then
I'd agree with that.
that's how
Yeah.
I structure my list.
So
We're
like
talking
10 still hurts, and then it
yeah,
keeps getting
10 hurts,
worse.
9 hurts more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hurt factor. That's how I did it. All right, Brian. So we let our guests decide the order on which they go. So you need to go first, second, or third. Then you can decide where we go as well.
Gotcha. Do we bounce around like 10 each?
Yeah,
10,
so we do
9?
10, 9,
Got
8.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll go last. I'll
Okay.
be the generous guy
Who
who goes
who do
last.
you want to go first?
You go first.
All
Let it
right.
fly, baby.
Might as well. All right. My number 10 for backhanded compliments. Things you just don't want to hear. They're not fun to hear. And this one I haven't gotten that much, but I know it's very painful if you did hear it. And when someone says, "Hey, that's a great picture of you," I didn't recognize you. And when they don't recognize you, it's like, that's me. What do you mean? And like that means either I look like, oh, I look good in this. They didn't expect that. I didn't recognize you. Like you should recognize me if I look good. That means I don't always look good. So if someone says it's a great picture of you and I don't recognize you, kind of pisses me off. That means I normally look bad in photos, which I probably do. I don't think I'm very photogenic as a person.
I feel like with that one you can like kind of take in determination, like, oh, this was like 3 years ago. Like, oh my god, you like changed
Yeah,
so
if it's
much
if
type
it's
of
an
thing.
older photo, you'll make like a baby photo.
Yeah.
But like high school, it's like, oh my gosh, like you look good there. I didn't recognize you. Screw you,
You need
dude.
to cuff them up if they say you look good in high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also true.
I think it's only a bad thing when you look good in the picture. Because like when you look bad in the picture, it's like, oh, I didn't recognize you. You're like, oh yeah, it's because I looked bad
Yeah,
back.
Yeah.
But if you look
exactly.
good and you're like, I don't recognize you, like, why? Like, do I look ugly now? Like,
Yeah, they have to clarify
mm,
first that you look good in it. They're like, oh, it's a good picture, like of you. I didn't recognize you. I'm like, screw you.
That's the compliment sandwich, dude. Like you give a
Yeah,
compliment on the start of a sentence, and then you toss some
and
shade
so
in the
and
middle,
then
and Tom
finish it,
compliment at the end.
and then they don't see it coming. They're like, what?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my number 10. Michael, what you got?
all right. So this is kind of a cliche pick, but I kind of ran out of options. So I'm going with you clean up nice. Personally,
Classic.
I don't think this is that much of a backhanded compliment because when someone says that to me, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I do. Like, I don't really take it as like, oh, you don't look good normally. I don't really take it
Yeah,
that way. I think some people do, so that's why I'm throwing it on the list. It was going to be a dishonorable mention for me just because I think it's kind of an
cliche.
overrated, like backhanded compliment. Like, I don't think you should take that much offense to it, but I still think it's a backhanded compliment nonetheless. So
Yeah, I mean, you can always look better, right? Like I could
yeah,
look good now and know I look good now, and someone said, "Oh, you cleaned up nice." Like I got better.
Yeah.
You improved.
I mean, cleaning up an ice is kind of just like doing a clean shave and keeping your mental health in check.
Hmm.
That's why you don't have an outburst at a wedding or get too drunk at one. That's cleaning up nice.
Yeah, it's like Saquon's probably gonna win most improved player this year. Doesn't mean he wasn't a good running back before.
True.
It's just saying he's improved. He's coming back. Comeback player of the year. Or he'll win comeback. So, anyways, whatever. The analogy still works. Brian, what you got?
All
Number
right.
10.
For number 10, I have I can tell. Like,
Mm.
I can tell you've had a few IPAs tonight, or this
Mm-hmm.
happened to me like 2 days ago. A guy was like, we were talking about working out, and I was like, oh man, have you been bulking? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I've been trying to cut. And he's like, I can tell.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
go screw yourself, dude. I know I have weight issues. You don't need to tell me shit.
oh, I think you said I've been trying to. Like, yeah, I can tell that you've been
Yeah.
trying. Not even that you're successful
No,
doing
he said,
it.
I can
I can
tell.
tell you're attempting
I'm
to.
like, dude, I gave you a compliment. You're just slapping
Yeah,
me in
fuck
the
you,
face,
dude.
buddy.
What the hell? That's the little I can tell. That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good one. All right, my number 10. It's a similar quote that start a backhanded compliment, so you kind of fill in the blank. Um, it's like usually this is kind of rare, but it's when they say, "Oh, I don't care what they say about you. I think you're actually funny." Or like, "I don't care what they say. I actually think you're good looking." Or I don't like referencing that other people look down on you to then compliment you is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And
Like,
then-
I don't care if Michael hates you. I actually like you. Like something like that.
And they don't clarify who they is.
Yeah.
It's just like the Illuminati hate you. Dude.
Yeah, dude. It was like, "Oh, dude, they always say like you're not funny, but I actually think that was kind of funny." Like that's ridiculous.
It's to level them up without clarifying who they is.
Exactly. Then you're old. Then like your anxiety. You're like,
Yeah.
who is that? Who
You're
is
like, I don't
talking
fucking
shit
care
about
what
me?"
you're saying. I don't know what these motherfuckers are
Yeah,
saying.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah, so my number 9 is like normally this is pretty much just coming from like relatives when they're like, "Oh, you've gotten so tall," or like, "Oh, you've gotten so big." And it's just like the fact that they haven't seen you in a while, but at the same time when I hear that, I'm just like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, a person, like that's just
I'm
like
a growing
natural.
boy.
I feel like it's just such an overused compliment where it's kind of backhanded in that way.
I think relatives are the kings of backhanded compliments
Very
Yeah.
true.
because they're like, especially they haven't seen you in a while, and it's never intended in a bad way, but you're also a little more blunt with people you are friends with or
And
like
family.
related to. So like you're not gonna like sugarcoat as much. So it come across as an insult very quickly. I
Yeah,
think.
and because they're your relative, you're not gonna like assume that it's like the backhand of it. They're just gonna think that you're gonna take it as like a compliment, even though sometimes. Yeah.
Travis Kelce just scored his third touchdown of the game, just for FYI.
Okay.
Also, I love how like your family members do this when you're like 25. Like, oh, you're so tall now. Like, yeah, I hit a growth spurt at 23
Yeah,
years
it's like,
old, my guy.
Grandma, I'm middle aged.
I know you have dementia, but still.
Jesus. Yeah, like oh my gosh, yeah, relatives are the worst at it. I agree.
All right. Number 9, this might be a bit too generic, but the word like, and let me specify here. Like I was at a bar the other day, and this girl goes, "So you're like an actor, or you're like a
Oh,
comedian,
yeah.
you're like a podcaster."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
that.
motherfucker, what? No,
Yeah.
like you're like an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, dude, don't get me started with TikToker.
Yeah, dude.
If someone calls me a TikToker, we're not friends.
If the girl
not
sees
friends.
this, you're a very nice girl, and I know you were just having a conversation with me.
Do you know this girl?
I met her the other day.
What's more like, do you know her name?
I don't want to say her name because I was.
When you know it, you know.
Yeah,
her.
I know her name. She's a great girl. Great girl.
Sounds like it. Just sounds fantastic. Sounds like a beauty. Yeah. No, but that's the worst when they're like, oh, like you, yeah, and they don't even
Yeah.
try to like. It's so condescending.
Sometimes
So
they
condescending.
don't mean it. Sometimes they do. I'm like,
Yeah, and you can tell. It's
Yeah.
a tone of voice type thing that goes. That tone of voice is everything with backhanded compliments.
100%.
All right, what we got? Number 8. This is a big one. I think this is like a phrase people normally. I think you could argue this is just a compliment, but when they say you glue up or you had a glow up, and it's someone you've known your whole life, like oh, or like someone who knew you before you glue up, that means the whole time beforehand they thought you were ugly. Like oh, why I had a glow up? It's like okay, yeah, improved, but like you don't have to make it seem like I was ugly before.
See, I don't think that's that much of a backhanded. I think that's
I will
just
agree with
pure
that.
compliment.
Yeah.
That's why it's my number 8. It's not the highest up, but
It's like that's what
I
like
just,
before,
the
blowing
back
up.
of my mind, I'm like, oh, I guess I was ugly before. That stinks. Didn't know that. Thanks for the heads up.
I mean, I was extremely overweight, and I lost the weight, and that's when people were like, "Oh, you're not a fat ass anymore. You know, you glue up." And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
I don't
get-
have heart problems anymore, dude."
that when it's something like like
minor,
that you
you
did,
think,
or
yeah.
when it's like I didn't like do anything. I didn't work out a bunch to like earn the glow
Yeah.
up. I just like existed and aged. And then they're like, "Oh, you glue up." It's like, no, I just grew up. Like
I
as a
hit
person,
puberty. I'm
I
not
hit
12
puberty and
anymore.
grew up as a person. Like I didn't do anything to earn this, so don't compliment me for that. I guess that's what pisses me off about it.
Yeah.
I just like became a person. I don't know. So yeah, you glue up by number 8.
All right. My number 8. I think we already kind of touched on this, but when you're not trying to lose weight and someone's like, "Oh, like you've lost some weight," or like you're trying to lose weight, I'm just like, "No, I've casually been forgetting about meals. I'm sorry. Like I don't know why you have to fucking bring that up either. Like
Yeah, why you care? Why do you care
I
about
just
my
have to
weight,
cook for
bro?
myself now, so I just forget to fucking eat, and I'm too lazy. So
Dude,
no, like
forgetting to
maybe I've
eat.
lost like 3 pounds of muscle, but that doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, I'm so stressed out with the rest of my life. I can't
Literally,
cook up some chicken and
forgetting
some rice, dude.
forgetting to eat is such a real thing. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this as much as I am. I'll like it. I literally had dinner 30 minutes ago at 10 o'clock. I just like
10
forgot,
o'clock's
and I was
pretty
like,
late.
"Dang, I'm hungry." I'm like, "No shit, I haven't had dinner yet." That's why. And I like, try to like, and I can never recall my meals. Like the next day, I have no idea what I had to eat yesterday. I could think as long as I possibly could. Don't eat. And then breakfast, I'm in and out on. I go through phases. I'm in a breakfast phase now, so I'm
Love
eating
breakfast.
breakfast. But then I'll go months without eating breakfast, and I just won't start till like noon.
Intermittent fasting, baby. Like I feel like the only time as an ex-fat kid, the only time I can really ever forget to miss meals when I'm like working. Like if I'm like bartending or something, I'm like, all right, dude, I don't have time to eat. I gotta like focus for like 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that. You're just like zooming.
How long do you think you could go without eating?
I think I've gone like I've definitely gone a day in terms that I don't think I could go more than a day. That's a lot.
I think I could go a day in terms of like 24 hours.
Yeah.
If I slept in there. Like I could do maybe I could do like maybe a 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. type thing.
Either
if I had a big meal at like 1:30 and I could make it to sleeping and then just sleep a lot and then
I'd agree with that.
that'd be my only chance because I get so moody and like so angry when I'm hungry.
There's this thing at IU called dance marathon. And like you're so focused on doing that, you're just like, oh my god, like I don't have time.
You're
to
so
eat,
focused
and
on
it's
saving
like,
the kids and
Yeah,
it's
I
all-
also think you get to like a point where if you haven't eaten for so long, you're so hungry that you like your hunger stops where like you're not hungry anymore. You just suddenly like if you haven't eaten for 12 hours, you're so hungry that your stomach just hurts and then you're not hungry anymore because it like kind of solved itself. It like ate itself or something like that.
If I have a shit ton of caffeine, I'm just like not hungry and I just like won't eat.
all three of those like combined, you're just like, dude, I'm so hungry, but like I feel like it's better if I don't eat. I don't know why. It's just like the brain kind of tricking you. All right, so for my number 8, they'll do anything, you know. It's kind of like on the surface, it's just like it's like, oh my gosh, this person is a partier. They're the life of the party type of thing, you know. And then time comes and they're like, oh, they're just kind of like using me, you know, like I'm a piece of beef.
Like Animal House style.
Yeah, dude.
Party animal.
Mhm.
I've never been that guy. Can't say I've ever been that guy.
Yeah, you have.
No.
No. You
No.
ain't smashing a bottle on the ground, doing cartwheels.
I kind of perfected it. So now I'm like the opposite of that guy. So anytime I do one of those things, they're like, whoa. They're like, oh, look who like Wyatt showed up to like it's kind of like it catches them off guard.
Yeah.
And it's like it breaks the mold they have for me, so I can just break that anytime I want.
I mean, that's what alcohol is for, you know. Everyone's that as I've developed in age, I've got social anxiety, but you get a few IPAs in me, and I'm doing some dances, doing some breaking things over my head. The whole
Couple
shebang,
IPAs,
baby.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they'll do, but that's a lot of pressure being that guy. I can't imagine. Couldn't be me. All right, another phrase that's commonly used, I think, is just not even close to a compliment. It's being unconventionally attractive. When someone's like, "Oh, like he's unconventionally attractive," it's like, no, he's just unattractive to you then, because that means you have a definition of what attractive is, and then you're saying that guy is not that. Like,
But
I think that means societal like attractiveness. Like,
Yeah.
like Chris Hemsworth, like he's attractive.
Still, like would you rather? I'll ask you guys right now. Would you rather be just hot or unconventionally hot? You'd rather just be hot.
If it's still hot and they're the same level in her eyes,
No, you
doesn't
can't.
matter.
You're more unique with
You
unconventional.
no, shut up. You guys are
Let's
brainwashed.
fuck on everything he says.
You guys are brainwashed at this point. You guys think that's a compliment. No, it's not.
It is 100% a compliment. It's
I think it's
not.
You're still being called attractive. It's still like that base, like the main adjective is attractive though. Doesn't matter how you get there. You're still attractive.
Here. Would you rather be conventionally attractive or unconventionally attractive?
Probably unconventional.
That's all
I like
opinion.
being unique. You know,
You'd rather. I mean,
I want to be different.
There's
Than
no
like
way.
fucking every run of the mill. You see an attractive person, you walk by, you're like, oh, that's a attractive person. You see someone who's attractive, but you don't really know why they're attractive.
I don't think I.
So you stop and you look at them a little bit. You're like, I don't know what.
I'm kind of talking myself out of this one because I don't think I could be a hot person. I don't think I could live that life.
You're a hot guy.
Oh, thanks, man.
Unconventionally attractive.
Unconventionally attractive. I don't think I could be the hot top 1% type of guy. That's so like, dude, just walking around every day, just like having that burden of being attractive.
I feel like you're slowly walking back what you said.
I am. No, I'm talking myself out of this one.
Yeah.
100% talking myself out of this one. But yeah, I don't think I could be a hot guy. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I have that in me. That person.
That's a good thing, dude. That means you're humble. You're saying you're humble.
There's a difference between you a baddie, okay? You know that. There's a difference
I'd be
between
too powerful,
being humble and confident and
I'd be too funny and hot. Can't do both.
You got to find yourself right at there, right above confident, right, not above.
Just unconventionally attractive. Again,
Yeah.
maybe it's a compliment.
Yeah.
You just talked yourself into that one.
I talked myself. Yeah, I talked myself into it. Yeah, you're right. It's good. That's my number 7, though.
All right, my number 7 is when you like do something maybe for the first time, or I don't know, you like hit a parlay, and somebody like right away goes, "Oh, congrats! I remember," and they're like, "I remember when I did that," or like, "I remember when I did that for the first time." Mm-hmm. So they're congratulating you, but at the same time, they're just like showing off, like, "Oh, like, that's nothing new to me," like. Yeah. So it's a backhanded compliment where they're congratulating you at the same time. They're saying like, I've done that before. Like, you're not special.
Mm-hmm. The only people who say that are people who haven't had sex in a while. That's the straight up definition of that.
Congrats on the sex thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, yeah, we know you don't.
That's a backhanded compliment.
You don't got to say that shit.
Yeah. It's also, it doesn't have to be as direct too. Sometimes you'll like, let's say like, oh, like hypothetically, I'm in a football game. It's like, oh, you tell like, oh, I just won my first football game, and then they like immediately piggyback off that and tell a story about them playing football.
That's like, just selfish.
Yeah, they don't even like acknowledge you, and they're like, oh, that reminds me of like when I had 7 touchdowns in 4th grade. It's like, fuck off, dude. No one cares.
I feel like there's a difference between that and making a story. That is obviously very like dickhead shit, but I feel like there's a difference between that and like making a connection with that person. You're like, oh, like this time, like someone says a story about them in football, where they do that, like, oh yeah, I played football in school, something like that, just to kind of make the conversation go. That's my
but if they're doing it all the time, 100%, it's like you're not even like acknowledging.
True.
You're just like building off. How can I make myself sound cooler?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. My number 7 is investing. Like you telling me I should start investing, like. Oh, you have money? Like, I get it, dude. Like, I had a mustache before Top Gun. Like, I don't have a 401k. I wear a tie-dye, dude. What are you talking about? That's my main article of clothing. You're like, maybe you should invest in fucking the Dow Jones. Like, what are you talking? Like, we get it, dude. You're showing off that you know how to do the stock market, man.
Yeah, or like assuming you don't invest or like make.
Well, I mean, I don't invest, but yeah, it's still assuming.
If someone makes that assumption, like, oh, like I'm sure, like you don't know about that. I'm like, I could, if I wanted to.
I'm gambling my money like that. I think stocks is basically the equivalent of gambling. On sports.
But I know sports better than I know stocks. So I'm gonna bet on what I know.
I'll do FanDuel $50 with the chance of making $1,000 in one night when you gotta wait a goddamn 2 months for that shit to come up for you.
Yeah, we have a great game happening right now, just out the corner of our eye. So we'll keep an eye on that one. For everyone watching this on Tuesday,
and don't spoil it because I think you're a half second ahead of me. So.
Oh really? All right.
When you said Travis Kelce got that touchdown, I was like, "What? It's on the 20-yard line."
I won't tell you that he caught that ball.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I
I
Um,
didn't say
need
anything.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire to get like 2 or 3 more catches, or I lose in fantasy.
I need Hunter Renfro to have more yards, but he's
You
not.
gotta stay on top of fantasy. You know, that's a bit tough.
Dude, it's hard,
I know,
especially when there's
resetting
not
the
money
lineups.
involved.
Oh,
It's
that's so
like-
tough.
I don't know.
Investing right there. You're investing.
Yeah, dude. It's 16 weeks of your life. All right. My number 6. This is a very specific one. For anyone who tries to venture off into a different type of occupation, try to do their own thing, start their own business, start just any type of entrepreneur. But when someone says like, "Oh, it's so cool that like you're doing your own thing," or like they phrase it in a way they're never gonna try to understand what you're doing. They definitely look down upon it and they're very condescending about it. Also, I didn't know how to phrase it, but when they basically treat like you don't have a real job
Yeah.
and they act like, "Oh, like you can move your stuff around." It's like I like no, like I work like all day. Like you
Yeah.
know, they think you like don't work at all because like they don't understand what you're doing. So like they're like, "Oh, like you're free, like you're not actually working. Like it's not that important." It's like, no, it's very important what I'm doing. Actually, arguably more important because like I don't have the back. I can't just like fall back on something else having like
Yeah.
a giant corporation behind me. So
And it's tough when like everyone's in like all these cities and stuff, and like they're talking about like their day jobs, and you're like, yeah, I'm just still, you know, I'm doing like my night job while I pursue what I
Mhm.
really wanted to during the day, and like it's kind of tough for people to understand that.
Yeah.
I fully get that. Yeah.
one thing I do love though about doing all this and running Good Time is this is very selfish of me, but when people complain about like people our age complain about their like jobs that they
Jobs.
have, and I'm like, oh, I fucking love what I do.
Yeah.
Like every single day. That's like the best thing I have going for me. So it's a backhanded compliment right now.
Also, if
for
you're
other
already-
people
if
who
you're already
hate their
com-
jobs.
If you're complaining about your job at
That's what I'm
22 that
saying,
you've
you're
had for
screwed,
2
dude.
months, go
You're
screw
screwed.
yourself, buddy. Either screw yourself or get a new job and do what you want to do.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
If you're hating your
It's
life right
2
now,
months of your
Michael,
life
you
right
like your job. I hope you like your job right now.
I mean, but you don't hear me talking. You don't hear me talking. Like I'm not in the guilty party.
Yeah.
I think the people that do say those things, like what your number 6 was, Wyatt, are the people that are like insecure with their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you can still not like it and
Yeah.
be okay and be happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people like willing just like to grind, like to just like grind a little bit and suck it up a little bit for a couple years, make some money, which is fair. Like that's one benefit that those people have. They're gonna have a lot more money in the
Chad
back pocket right
loves
now.
working 80 hours a week. I don't know how, but he loves it. That's
Some
what he
people
likes
like it, man. Some people like the grind.
I feel like some
it's a
people-
different grind.
Some people value, not to be like all philosophical and stuff. I feel like some people's dream is to have that income coming in. I feel like
Yeah.
more other people's dreams is to do something else, but like they have to work their way up to get there. I don't know. It's very different in terms of like what people's like goal in life
Yeah.
is. But yeah,
Fair enough. So some people want, yeah. We're not gonna go in this full podcast.
feel too
discussion.
philosophical. I'm
to do.
sorry.
This got so deep. This just got.
This is the
I'm
deepest
wearing a
show has
hippie
ever been.
shirt,
At least we're
man.
not arguing about
What's
like.
the purpose of life?
At least we're not arguing about Christopher Columbus.
All right,
Michael?
all right. Number
Okay,
6.
okay. That you brought that up that time. All right.
We're not going to talk about Christopher Columbus. Do you think Christopher Columbus was American?
No, he was Spanish.
But like he was technically like the first American.
No.
Not at all. Do not say
He
that.
died 200 years before
bro.
America was founded.
We did top 10 Tuesday, and Christopher Columbus was my number one American.
America was still a thing, but like the indigenous
I'm
people
aware,
who were living it, those are the first
okay,
Americans.
I'm
what
very
are we talking?
I'm aware. No, you're right. We have this argument every
We're
week.
done.
He was my number one American on my list of top 10 Americans.
Yeah, that's bold.
Yeah. Well, he's the most recognizable.
You
Figure.
don't think George Washington is?
Columbus came first.
Pretty sure that was my number 1, George Washington.
Yeah, bro.
Or no,
Abe
Abe
Lincoln. Abe Lincoln.
Not even the first
MLK.
president.
Wait, who was also on your list, Wyatt? Was it Heidi D'Amelio? Oh,
Yeah. Heidi D'Amelio was on my list.
Brad Pitt would be on my list. That man's top 10
Good one.
American.
that's
Heidi
better than
D'Amelio
Heidi.
gave birth to two of the biggest TikTok stars in the world. That's a monumental moment in American history.
All right, PewDiePie.
All
He's
right.
Swedish.
He's not yet
Mine-
American.
My number 6. I'm moving it on from that top 10 American. My number 6 is when someone says like, "Oh, I love how you don't care about what you look like."
Yeah.
Because that's me. I'm like, some people like take pride in that. Like, oh, I don't give a fuck. But like, I'm just like, I do care about what I look like. So fuck you for saying
Yeah.
that. Like, you know what? Maybe I did spend 10 minutes on my hair this morning, and you're still giving me shit. So maybe that is not a compliment. You just because you said I love how you don't look like doesn't mean you know I like how you said that. So I think that some people think that it's a compliment, but you know that's himself most people.
I'd argue that literally every single person to ever exist cares what they look like.
Yeah.
At
Like,
certain
at
At a
points,
Yeah.
certain level, like
yeah.
obviously it change like varies per person. Some
You're
people
like, I'm going outside to take up the trash.
like
and
you
shoot
might
a
not
squirrel.
care. You might not care what other people think about how you look, but you still care about what you look like.
Yeah.
I think to an extent.
You want to have drip. You want to be, sometimes you're also running for class, running late for class. You're like, I do not give a shit.
Yeah, different scenarios you care less. Like again, like if you're drinking, care a little less about how you look because that's
Before you start drinking,
Yeah.
you're like, I want to be
I
fucking
wanna be
clean,
dripped out.
baby.
Yeah, pop the chain.
All right, I'm calling audible for mine.
You're switching it up.
Yeah, I'm doing when they do a celebrity lookalike, but they have to add an adjective to it.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
cool.
So like, there was one time when I was bartending, and I had blonde hair at the time, and this couple comes up to me, and they're all really excited, like, "Dude, you look just like a short Machine Gun Kelly." And I'm like, "You're not getting a goddamn drink from me right now.
Mhm.
Go fuck yourself."
Wait, say that one again. They said
A short machine
short
gun.
Machine Gun Kelly.
I had blonde hair, and it like they're like an anvil just dropped on Machine Gun Kelly. I looked a bit different than I do now because I had shorter hair, blonde hair. Back in high school, when I was a bit fatter, people said like I looked like an unhealthy Hillary Clinton, and I'm like, she's already a 70-year-old woman.
That's an insult.
She's already a 70-year-old woman. Like, how can she still be unhealthy? And someone said I look like a fat Matt Damon. Dude, I could go on for hours. I have a stand-up bit about this. This is
Oh
Okay,
my
but Fat Matt Damon could I still think that's compliment. I still think that's compliment.
I don't know about that. I mean, at the
You
time,
could phrase it differently.
at the time, I was like, "Yo, Fat Matt
Yeah.
Damon, I'm living
I've
life."
gotten skinny Buzz Lightyear. That one.
I
I've
can
gotten
see
Dollar
that,
Tree
yeah.
Jack Harlow. That's the
I can
main
see Jack
that I've
Harlow.
gotten.
Yeah, very
I've
true.
Dollar
gotten
Tree Jack
someone
Harlow.
just called me straight up ugly Ryan Gosling. Like that's just an ugly.
But Ryan Gosling's so attractive.
So attractive.
and ugly Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling is still
It's just like
above the average
normal
Joe.
looking,
Yeah.
average looking.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's fair.
The
Thanks
best
for
one
making
on-
me feel better.
Best one I got was a hipster Jeffrey Dahmer because I used to have these
Oh.
glasses that were like pretty chill. Like if Jeffrey Dahmer found a thrift store type of deal,
That'd be a.
I
that'd be
would-
a story.
I would say like maybe like Johnny Depp without the crack. Like
Mm.
if he didn't do crack.
Speaking of crack, that's gonna come into play.
There we go. All right, what do we got? Number 5?
Yeah.
This is very similar to Michael's, but it's phrased a little differently. It's you seem like someone who doesn't care what people think. So that's basically involves looks, just like personality. Obviously, someone who, like me personally, like post stuff on the internet, like, oh, you don't care what people think. What does that mean? People think bad things about me? If people think good things about me, then I wouldn't worry about what people think. So it's like, no, I like everyone to an extent cares what people think. Whether you give any like actual value to it is up to you. Which again, I don't think I really like. If some random person comments some random stuff, most of the time I just laugh at it, which is hilarious.
I see the compliment and I also see the backhanded to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like I understand what you're trying to say, but it's like
Yeah.
it's implying that people are going to say bad things about me.
You could just say like you're not really giving a fuck what anyone's thinking.
You just say
you're doing your
say
own
confident.
stuff. Yeah.
Like confidence.
Like you're
Yeah.
strutting your shit. You don't have to say like you don't care what anyone. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. That's my number
Yeah.
5.
My number 5 is when someone says you're a lot smarter than you sound. Like, do I sound fucking stupid? Like, is my voice give off like stupidness? Okay, fuck. I just said
Nice, that sounded stupid.
yeah, that sounded stupid. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe you're like in a mood where you're like talking different, or I don't know. Before you hit puberty, you had a little girly voice. Like, oh, you're a lot smarter than you sound. I'm like, okay, fuck you mean by that? Like,
Well, like when you're around your friends, like I don't think I've ever said like a super smart thing when I'm joking around with my friends. But
Yeah.
like in reality, like you actually have like smart thoughts. Like you wouldn't make it this far in life if you weren't somewhat competent.
The 90% of our live show, The Bum, is me saying stupid stuff, but I'm always prefacing it like I understand how stupid this sounds, but I've actually put thought into it and hear me out. Is it still dumb? Like the phrase itself, so it sounds dumb coming across. Yeah, 100%. But there's some thought into most of the stuff I say. But I will argue, Michael, there are some people who just sound dumb.
Yes.
Like their voice, the way they're, and like it's nothing against them. They could be very smart people. I'll give you an example. Or I don't know if you're watching Bachelor in Paradise right now, Michael.
What?
But you know Aaron Clancy.
No.
He talks like the back of his throat. Basically, it's like, yeah, I kind of like vibe with you. Like he just talks like he's talking out of the back of his throat,
Like a fucking like frat bro. Like
yeah, kind of, but like
Jimmy Cash
his
bro.
mouth never closes. Like he's just like
They're mouth breathers.
Yeah. But it's like again, she could be smarter, whatever. But some people just sound dumb, which is fair. All right.
All right. So Justin, mine is I don't know. I'll still roll my number 5. Saying they would know. Like, what would I know? Like saying like, oh, you would know about that. Like saying like, oh yeah. Like Mark Cuban's like fishing rod company. Like, oh, that guy would know about that. Like, no, I don't fish, dude.
Like assuming you would know.
Yeah, knowing about something. Maybe not that. That was a random thing, but like saying something like really dumb, and they're like, "Oh, you know about that?" I'm like, "No, I don't know about that.
I don't know things." Yeah.
Like when someone like mentions a musical and they knew I did musicals back in the day, they're like, "Oh, like, you know that one." I'm like, "The fuck you mean? I didn't do every fucking musical. I don't have the knowledge base of every single musical in my head. Like, no, like what the fuck."
Trying to toss a little shade is what they're doing.
Yeah, basically conflate your personality into like 3 facts they know about you, and they're like, "Oh, you play tennis, Wyatt? Just tell me everything about tennis. Go." And just it's conflating your personality into small things.
A better way would just to be invite that person into the conversation. I think rather than just saying, "Oh, they would know." Just say like, "Oh, you used to do that." Like mention that you actually know this about that person.
Or you just ask like, "Do you know about this?"
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is pretty straightforward. Saying, "Oh, that was actually funny." The word "actually" implies that it's never been before. They're like, "Oh, that was actually funny." They're like, "Oh, you actually look good." That's implying that you did it before. But I'm saying specifically that was actually funny. Because I've gotten that comment a lot on TikToks. They're like it's mostly my friends that I know. They're like, "Wyatt, this was actually funny." I'm like, "Oh, so the other 99 videos I posted this month weren't? This is the one that made you say." You could have just said, "This is funny." I laughed. Even if you say "this is funny," it makes me think that you only commented because you only think that one is. And granted, comedy is subjective, so because it doesn't really matter. But saying something was actually funny, basically just implying that you haven't been before.
Wyatt, I feel like I've said that to you when I say, "Oh, that was actually a good pick, Wyatt." Because a lot of times I'm like, "Oh, your picks are fucking stupid."
Yeah.
And so when I say, "Oh, that was actually a good pick," that is 100% a backhanded compliment.
Yeah,
so,
the word "actually" can go a long way in changing the meaning of what's being said.
I mean, in terms of like doing stand up and stuff, like you eat shit so much on stage, and like if some friend comes to see your show and they only mention one joke that they like, that you're like 5 jokes, and you're like, "Yeah, what about the other 4, man?" They're like, "Yeah."
Do you
they don't clarify?
Do you like having friends at your shows? Like, are you get open?
It depends if they're like a longtime friend, or like a girl that I met over Zoom who I think is pretty, and they see me come bomb.
What do you mean met over Zoom?
You meet over Zoom?
It was a long time.
Whoa, that was very specific. You met a girl over Zoom.
Well, no, it was a class.
How do you network over?
No, super nice.
Are there just random
girl,
Zoom?
But it's just
what you just hop.
No, for class, and like it's just like they come to see your show to like see you in real person, but then you're like, oh, that's a bit tough when I like eat shit and bomb during a set in person, which me bombing a lot, especially when I was out in LA. just bombing, which was nice because you're not bombing in front of people you know. That's what I like. But it's always fun to kill in front of people you know. That's the back and forth thing. You want to make people laugh, but and you're like, oh,
I want to go back to meeting this girl on Zoom.
Okay,
I'm really interested in this.
So like, it was a class.
So what was it? A comedy class?
No, it wasn't. It was just a regular
class.
College.
You see this girl on a Zoom call.
Yes.
And what, you just like send her a private message on Zoom?
No, breakout rooms, and you get
slide into her DMs.
No, listen, breakout rooms. Yeah, with 4 people, and I was a film major, so it's like these classes where like you are in small. It's already a small class. You do breakout rooms, and then you follow each other on Instagram, and then you start like messaging each other that way. That's like how you meet. I met a girl over Zoom in an ASL class one time, and you couldn't say a word in the class.
What?
They're just like, want to go out?
No, so it was only eye contact. I was like, are we kind of like looking at each other through the Zoom? And then
I fucking the shit out of me.
No way. And then I downloaded Bumble. I'm not gonna finish the story.
No, you have to now. And you matched with her right away.
Yeah, I matched with her on Bumble, but we like never met up. We Snapchatted for a little bit, but yeah, it's just Zoom's all about like vibes, man.
The fact that you have multiple stories of meeting people on Zoom is hilarious.
Zoom's like that was the way of dating back in 2021, early 2020.
Michael, you done with that 2-point conversion?
No, but I just saw Kelsey got his 4th fucking touchdown.
And I have Raiders plus 7.5, so they missed the 2-point conversion.
Okay.
Are you able to take?
I need one more point from Clyde Edwards-Helaire to win. I need one more point.
Cool. Anytime touchdown for like 7. Can you get like 4 touchdowns per person? Like anytime
you can bet on someone to score multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can only do 3+. There's 1, 2, and then 3+.
And I have the over on Kelsey's yards, and he doesn't have it. I took 40. He has 25 yards and 4 touchdowns.
25 yards.
Stupid. All right, this is not a gambling show. You can tune into Fade the Public or and our other stuff. We'll talk about that there.
All right.
Number 3?
No, I think I have 4 still.
Yeah.
Wait, I just went. I said 4. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
So my number 4, Wyatt, you kind of said this, but like when you're showing your friends like a picture that you look bad in, or like it's just not a good picture for you, and you're showing them like, oh, you look good in that. I'm like, that was a test, and you failed. I did not look good in that. Now you're just being fake as fuck. That's how you know the fake friends. And then, or you could be like, if you show it to them, they're like, I don't know, man, you don't look that good. Then it's like, thanks, I appreciate that. Like you're being honest.
Yeah.
With me. But if you're saying like, oh, you look good, but you don't look good, it's a fake ass bitch. Because I know when I look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they know, I'm just testing y'all. You know.
There's a difference between how you view yourself though versus how people view you. You know?
Yeah, I guess there's a
that
little.
Does play.
It's not that there's. If it's that big of a difference, then you know they're fake.
If you look like absolute shit though, and they're
like you see those TikTok trends with like the girls where like edit their pictures and then send it to and text it to their boyfriends and then see like, oh, should I post this? You know, and then they're like, yeah, and they're not even looking at it. It's kind of like that, like a little test.
I think everyone is way more self-aware than we think. It's just whether they're willing to accept it or not. Like you said, you know when you look good. I know when something's funny. I know when something, for the most part, like
you think in your head, you're like, this is gonna be funny.
Yeah. But then like I know even when I deliver it, I'm like whether it did well or not.
Yeah,
I feel
100%.
like. And then sometimes you're just like in denial and people don't. Yeah. And then sometimes you're surprised. Like I'll post a video that I thought was dog crap, not funny, and just like blow up. You're like, guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should like 90% on whether you're self-aware or not. But yeah, and that's how I think you're not getting backhanded compliments from true friends. Because they'll just like tell you look like shit.
That's better than backhanded compliment.
Yeah. And then like your very long distance, like people you just met, strangers, aren't going to give you backhanded compliments because they don't know you well enough. So there's this gray area where the people are going to give you the backhanded compliments. It's like the distant relatives. They'll like see the once or twice a year type of friends, that kind of stuff.
That's why right when you meet a person, you just kind of have to be a dick right off the rip. You know, you got to be honest and an asshole to them, and that's how you become a better friend. If they can withstand your honesty in terms of being an asshole, not like a dick, but like and honesty.
And it makes a bold first impression.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, you're a piece of shit, but you're a good person, you know?
I don't think I've ever adopted that strategy, but maybe I should.
Yeah, just be straight up with them. Be yourself, baby.
Yeah.
And
might
tell
have
them
to.
like, yo, you're kind of you need to simmer down there, pal.
Yeah, no, I'm a fake it till you make it kind of guy. I'll fake it, and then all of a sudden, once I open up and we're friends, I've made it, and I can talk my real shit.
There you go. All right, my number 4 is, are you high?
Oh
No, that's just my personality, dude. Like, I'm not high. I mean, no. Like, I'm just, this is the way who I am. But if you think I'm on drugs right now, that's just.
that is. I never
the
thought
surface-
about it that way.
On the surface, it's just like, yo, like, oh, this person's like a partier, like he's a chiller, you know. And then like, oh, you think I'm like,
I'm on drugs. Yeah.
'cause
I
this is
never
just
thought
who
of
I
it that
am.
way. Huh. I get that.
Especially when you're like clearly not high.
Yeah.
If it's like one of those scenarios where you're just, why would somebody be high? And you're just like, really? Like, is it that stupid of a comment?
I get like super like when I'm even remotely tired, my eyes get like bloodshot immediately. Like I can't hide the fact that I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. Like on the eye drops, all that stuff.
But that's a funny bit though, when like someone like knows you're not high and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's high because he's
Yeah, but then like literally like, cause dude, parties in college start way too late. That's another rant, anyways.
Yeah.
But it's late, so like I would going out in college, and be like, "Are you high right now?" I'm like, "No, I'm just exhausted."
because everyone else is
It's
high,
it's
man.
1 a.m. I'm tired. Sue me. Like and so I get that a lot. I never thought of it that way though. I can see how that can be a insult. All right, top 3. This one's very close to home, especially given my part-time job as a high school tennis coach. When someone like asks how old you are or what grade you are in, as a college graduate, like what grade are you? When I literally say like, oh, I was at Garin today, which is the high school I teach at or coach at, and they're like, oh, like what grade are you in? I'm like, I am the leader of young men over there. I'm not one of the young men myself, and it happens way too much. We had an open house yesterday where I had to sit there and present and like talk to incoming potential families. Every single one of them thought I was a player. Oh, look, what year are you? Did you play? What did you play last year? No, I'm actually the head coach. Nice to meet you. It's crazy, but yeah, it's and then they like, yeah, it's just like, it's intentional. So it's different than a lot of these because it's not an intentional like insult, but it is because it's like questioning like, oh, this dude can't be a coach. Look at him.
Granted, though, like to be a 22-year-old head coach in ISHAA, like that's just like props for you.
Oh,
bro.
it
Like,
is
that's
it is
huge.
nice.
Like there's no one
There
else
is-
who's like 22 as a head coach.
I
for-
complain about it, but it is so much fun to be like, nah, I'm a coach.
Yeah,
So,
I think
yeah.
you damn near might be one of the youngest head coaches in IHA.
I mean, it would have to be like just statistically. I don't think it's possible to be younger,
Yeah,
unless someone did it right out of high school and didn't
or
go
if
to
they
college.
graduated college early.
Yeah, to become a coach, graduates college in 3 years to become a high school coach. That would be a bold business decision.
Yeah.
Michael, what you got? Number 3?
All right, what?
3, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, when someone says like, oh, I wouldn't expect you to do that, or like when like I have a music TikTok or whatever, and they're like, oh, like I wouldn't expect you to like, I wouldn't think you're like a singer, or I wouldn't expect you to sing or something. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry that you're just judging me based off my looks or my personality, like fuck you. But at the same time, I think it's also a compliment, more of a compliment than backhanded, because it's kind of like, yeah, bitch, I'm not what you expected. Get used to it.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
It's nice because you can like pull out some tricks. You like if you go to a party and like no one really knows like your singing quality, you like roll up, you're like just start rolling, and people are like, oh my god, this guy's got some pipes on him.
It is nice to have a little trick up your sleeve that no
Yeah.
one would expect. Whoa, sorry.
Oh
Michael.
yeah.
Sorry,
Uh-oh.
Michael. I'm gonna wait.
All I'm saying is I need Clyde Edwards-Helaire to get one more fucking point.
Well, they're getting the ball back.
That's good. That's
This
good.
game is insane. This is all in the fourth
Well,
quarter.
I'm waiting for. I wish. I'm just gonna wait for Michael
was
to
a
watch
nice
this
dig,
one.
dude.
Sorry for everyone watching this on a Tuesday afternoon, having already know the result of this game.
Oh, someone did just fucking spoil it for me.
Yeah. How far behind are you, dude? I'm on watching on
That
a
was at
Roku.
least like 30 seconds.
Dude, I'm literally on Fubo.
I'm on my Roku TV.
I'm gonna turn it off, turn it back on again.
Well, Devontae Adams.
It
scored
is
6
Fubo.
I saw it.
Yeah. All right. So you just said you did your number 3, right, Michael?
Yeah.
All right.
Mine's kind of continuing with my number 4. It's like, are you on crack right now? Are you on that crack cocaine? Like, what are you, Nancy Reagan, dude? What if I was smoking those rocks, you know? But no, that's just again my personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a different
I'm
type.
try-
It's just like high versus crack, because those are obviously 2 different drugs. Like one, you're gonna be a bit more chiller, and the other one is just crack. You know, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
missing teeth.
Would there ever be that ever be considered a compliment in any
Yeah,
situation?
like oh, you're a crackhead, and then I'm like, see, this is where you really gotta like on the surface level, it may not be seen as a compliment. Like, oh, are you on crack? Like that could be seen in terms of crackheads. Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
on crack right now, and they're like, oh yeah, man,
Yeah,
this
like,
guy's having
yes,
a
I
good
am,
time.
correct.
Yeah. But in terms of my situation,
Yeah.
I am not on crack
Not good to
as
know.
of now.
Good to know. I didn't have that one on my list. My number 2, it's one word, and universally everyone thinks it's a compliment, but don't be fooled, it's not. Well, mouth drops like it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I have my number 2 is a one word too.
What's it start with? Does it start with the letter that's in the first 3 letters of the alphabet?
Yes.
Is it the 3rd letter?
No.
Okay, I thought you were going to
That'd
say
be
something
crazy. We're doing some
wild.
Scrabble shit right here.
Yeah.
It's being called cute. It's game like if you're called cute by any female ever as a dude, you have 0 chance. It's over. You lost.
I like being called cute.
No, you lost. If you're cute, it's like you're a puppy, a cute little puppy.
Girls like puppies.
Girls don't want to date puppies.
Girls don't want to.
Girls don't want to. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
Bestiality is not cool, man.
Not cool. Yeah, no, being called cute is the worst. It's awesome, but it's the worst because it just puts you in this little category outside of known attractiveness scales. It's like its own little bubble. Like it's not necessarily bad, but you can't burst out of that bubble. You're just cute.
And I think it also determines in the phrase of it, as all of these kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, you're cute. Like when you're like trying to like chat with someone, like, oh, you're cute.
That also plays
That's
into
mostly
that plays into my number 1. But yes,
yeah,
you're right.
I mean, I think it could be kind of, seen as like, teasing and playful flirting in terms of, I don't think it's always a bad
if they
all about the vocal
if
cords.
it depends how if they say that was cute, like they're inferring something you did was cute, that's fine.
Yeah, like
but if
nice
you
romantic
yourself
gesture.
if you yourself are being described as cute, like you are a cute person, no, you're done. You lost. Game over.
See, you're saying that, but then you're one about the unconventionally attractive. I feel like that's kind of going against that.
I already talked myself out of that one. I'm spiraling at this point. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
I think he's high based on those bloodshot eyes.
Yeah, I'm high.
He's on crack
I'm on crack.
cocaine. All right.
My number 2 is a one word. One word as well, and this like pisses me off. And it's kind of, I guess, is it really a comment? It's being called, or when someone just uses the phrase "brave" when they're not referring to like firefighters or like soldiers, and they're like, "Oh, you're so brave." I'm just like, shut the fuck up, you patronizing piece of shit. Like, shut up. Like, brave. I hate that adjective when it's not using to actually describe something truly brave. Like, and I don't want to get too political with it, but like, it's just like some things are just not brave. Like, I think brave just gets thrown around a lot, and I'd like to use this number 2 slot as a way to get back to the root cause of the word brave and start using it to like respect the people that are actually brave and actually doing like brave activities, not like, I don't know, Stupid stuff.
Can you give me like a power ranking
No.
of people that
Oh,
are
what?
brave? Can you give me, like, a
People that
power-
are brave, like
Yeah,
top
like top five like brave occupations.
occupations.
Yeah, like or people specific. If you want to give specific people, that works too.
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter's pretty brave.
I think Jackie Robinson's a good example of brave,
Yeah.
especially during the time. Maybe I just like
Brave.
rewatched 42 recently, but like great movie by the way. But like I don't know. I think that's a good any Navy SEAL person that like went in to kill Osama bin Laden, that's fucking brave. Any firefighter that's like literally going to a fucking burning building and risking their life to like save a cat, that's pretty fucking brave.
What about Boo from like Monsters Inc?
John Mayer.
No, like a
John
fictional
Mayer?
fucking person. No.
There's
Okay,
a whole movie
yeah,
called
like,
Brave
no.
that's fictional.
Yeah, but that's fiction. Like that's fictional. You know,
You can't. There's no fiction. You can't depict Brave on the screen of animation.
I just think that word brave comparing like a fictional, what is it like what is she considered, princess, whatever?
Yeah.
Comparing that to like a fucking Navy SEAL using the same adjective to describe both those, so there's something wrong with that. Something wrong with that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like you can't call me attractive and also call Ryan Gosling attractive because that's insulting to one of us. We just don't know which one.
Blue's Clues from Blue's Clues is pretty brave.
It's also true. I didn't think about that one.
See, like you just, I don't know. I just hate the word brave when it's not used to describe something actually brave. And you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. My number 2 is you're an alcoholic. In some situations, again, the same thing with smoking crack. It kind of just depends on your situation. Like, oh, this guy parties. Like, oh, this guy like is just a tank in terms of drinking. Like, you're an alcoholic. But then if you really kind of just take into account the voice that they're using, like, oh, they think I have a drinking problem, is what they're saying.
Kind of inferred by that phrase alcoholic.
But it kind of it all kind of depends on the voice that they're using. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to jokingly call someone an alcoholic, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean, under the circumstances, like, oh, this guy just took like 5 shots, like he's a tank, he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, there's like subtle ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sensing a theme with yours.
Yep.
All right, we're on our number ones then. My number one, I just realized, is also a one-letter word. It's not really a word. But when I mentioned the cute one for the last one, you guys, as you were talking about it, you mentioned my number one. And it's usually a prefix to calling someone cute. And it's just the audible expression of saying, "Aw." If you use that tone with me ever, you have no respect for me as a human being. Aw. And I have a great clip, and I'll show it to you. And it's one of the most viral clips I've had from the podcast, and it's Cassandra, who's a friend of the show. Yeah. She's been on this show before.
Oh wait, I think I remember this one.
Yeah, when she asked how old I was, I answered, and she replied, "Aw." How old
are you?
I'm 21.
That's the most disrespectful move anyone has ever pulled on me live on air.
I don't even think it's a compliment at all.
Not.
Like, I don't even think it can be considered a backhanded compliment where it's not even a compliment.
That's a fair take. I won't disagree with that take. It's so disrespectful. It's unbelievable. She knows it too. I've called her out on it a billion times. But you're welcome for the clout, Cassandra, because that's at 1.3 million views right now.
You could also just be like, oh, they're so much younger than me. I wish I had the youth of life like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Just like, it doesn't have to be an age thing. If someone just looks at you and thinks, "Aw," like they don't see you as a human being equal to them. They
almost
see
like pitying you in a way.
Yeah, they see you as an inferior person.
Yeah.
Immediately. And it's disrespectful. That's my number one backhanded compliment.
Mine's kind of in the same boat in terms of like it's not necessarily a compliment.
Well, Michael's first. Michael, number one. I know you're intensely watching this game. It's a great game. Great Monday Night Football game for everyone who watched it last night.
My number one is just kind of like a those things Mad Lib, in terms of a Mad Lib of a phrase. So it's your adjective for enter like race or gender. Like, oh, you're cool for a white guy. Oh, you're fast for a white guy. Oh, you're funny for
Dude, you're hot for a chick.
Yeah, it's just like when they like say the first half is a compliment, like, oh, you're cool, and then like for whatever part of whatever thing that something that describes your characteristic they're talking about. Like, oh, you're cool for a freaking alcoholic, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, like you're pretty smart for a crackhead.
Comedian.
When there's like the first half is literally just
Yeah.
like, oh, you're cool, and then they just ruin it. It's kind of like when someone's saying a phrase and they're like, but it's kind of just like that. It kills.
It's like,
Kills
oh,
compliment.
I would like to double down on Michael's take here. I'm also against racist comments too.
yes.
So
Or I
It's
have a
good
good,
to-
I have a good analogy for that one. Or you don't have erectile dysfunction for a young person.
that's true.
You can still get blood flowing to the penis. You know what I mean?
That can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. All right, Brian.
Mine is
I like to
Close
point
this
out
out.
that I'm down 0.1 points right now.
In fantasy, and you need Clyde. They're not getting the ball back.
I know.
They could score.
No,
You need them to score here.
I need 0.1.
You need the Raiders to score here quick.
all right. So my
Oh
number
yeah,
one?
sorry. That was the
No,
way
you're
to tee
good,
up
you're good.
Brian's number one.
My
Right
number
here.
one's kind of the same boat as Wyatt. It's not necessarily a compliment, but when someone calls you like a little piece of shit, you're like, yo, like on the surface that may seem like a compliment, but like you're like, nah, I'm not really about that at all, dude.
What? How is that being a compliment?
Like what's like, oh, look at this little piece of shit.
Oh, little piece of shit.
Like, have you ever talked to like a toddler? You're like, you're a little piece of shit, little guy, and then
yeah, every time I'm talking to little kids, you're a piece of shit.
you just gotta be fluid with them, you gotta be straight up when you're
Yeah.
talking to toddlers, man. Like you need to cut that shit out, you little piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck you, little kid. How much are you gonna cuss at this little kid?
No, he's little piece of shit. Like shit's barely a cuss word.
I would say it's more cuss word than not.
Not's not a cuss word, is it?
No, like it's more. No.
Comedy.
God damn it. That's the thing. Like you can't tell when you have a comedian in the building. It's like, am I too smart or too dumb for what's going on right now? And normally it's too dumb. I feel too dumb to have this conversation. But yeah, I guess look a little piece of shit.
Little piece of shit.
The number one. All right. Any honorable mentions, Michael?
I'll say when we stop recording. There's just like the one I text you about, like how rated are we getting?
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't say this in a way where it doesn't make me sound like a dick. And I'm just like, I can't have it because I'll just lose votes for it. So I was just like,
Yeah, I get a text from Michael. It's like, how rated R can I get? I'm like, dude, this is your show too. Like this is.
I know, but I just can't look good by saying it. And no way of me saying it. I look.
You want to say it right now?
Are
I'll
you talking
bleep it
about
out.
genocide? Are you gonna say something about genocide?
I'll bleep it out right now just so we get our reaction. I promise you, on my life, I will bleep it out.
So this actually was said to me, and it still has real estate in my head, obviously, if I'm bringing it up. And so right, this is why I'm saying it's rated R. And thanks, like I'm like, do I give off like, it's just like,
yeah, that
it's
would
just like
that would
now I
stick
feel like
with you.
like because I didn't want to say that, but like it's just like, okay, like thanks, like, and that it will never stop saying in my head. I'm just
that
like,
would stick with you forever.
I still don't think if it's a compliment or an insult, because I think it's kind of both.
It's in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to die with that one. That one's gonna
It's
stick
just like,
with you forever.
You're like, fuck you, like, you just don't say that, It's just,
Yeah.
I love how you're gonna bleep it out, so I can just be like, "You said what
Yeah.
about the Jewish community?"
Yeah, dude, this is kind of hell anti-Semitic, dude. That was tough.
yeah, but I was like, there's no way I can say that and it'll look, I don't know,
No,
good.
Yeah.
that's tough. I
Pretty
agree.
anti-Semitic of you, if you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You and the H man would get along great.
Kanye
yeah, I hate
West,
Jews.
man.
I mean, you.
All right. Well, hey, folks, that's our show. Make sure to go vote tomorrow on Wednesday. That always throws me off. The poll will be up on our Twitter page, and then the graphics will be up on Instagram. Brian, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey,
man.
of course, it was a pleasure. We'll get you. We got to get you on the bum sometime
Hell
soon.
yeah.
Come on for our live show. But all right, folks, thanks for listening. We love y'all. We'll see you soon. Peace.